Hi. When life gives you lemons, why not make lemon wine? Hi, I'm Charles, and welcome to DIY Fermentation, your site for doing fermentation on a shoestring budget. Again, as always, if you like what you see here, please click on the subscribe and notify buttons, and I will put one of these out once a week. Okay, this is what we're going to be using to make this wine. We're going to start with 1 gallon of water. We're going to be using a packet of yeast. We're going to be using 5 cups of sugar. We're going to be using my 2.5 gallon fermenter, but you only need a good 1 gallon jar with a good tight fitting lid. We're going to be using up to 8 to 10 lemons, which we're going to zest and juice. We're going to be using a handful of roughly chopped raisins, and we're going to be using a straining bag. That's all I need. Okay, what we need to do now is to bring our water, sugar, lemon zest, and raisins to a boil. One gallon of filtered water. We're going to use 5 cups of sugar. So start with 1 cup, and then we're going to add 4 more. I want to put the lemon zest and the raisins in a straining bag to make life a whole lot easier later on. This process is a whole lot neater than trying to deal with all of those mashed up strawberries when I was making the strawberry wine. And those are those. Ended up using about half a cup of chopped up raisins. And it was a coarse chop. I mean, there's no finesse to it. I mean, I could have just threw them all in the food processor for a couple of pulses and called it a day. But basically, that's what you got. Tie this in a knot. Put that here for a moment while I give the sugar water a stir. A quick stir. I'll be stirring that again later on. Drop in your zest and raisin mixture. And let it come to a boil. Okay, now that we brought our liquid to a boil, we can now go ahead and turn off the heat. Let it come down to nice room temperature, lukewarm temperature, and we'll then add our lemon juice, and then we will add our yeast. Okay, now that our lemonade, sweetened lemonade, is cooled down to a nice lukewarm temperature, next thing we want to do is to pour it in the fermenter. And hopefully, with a little bit of luck, I can do this without spilling it all over the table. Okay. We're going to take our raisin lemon zest mixture. Put that where it will do the most good. Make sure this is completely empty. Every last little bit of lemon wine droplets. We now want to add our lemon juice. Out of 8 lemons, I got roughly about 1 2/3 cup, less than that, but around that mark. We'll just go ahead and pour that in. All right, we want to add about a teaspoon of yeast. More doesn't hurt, but then again, you don't need more because the yeast is going to multiply while it's chowing down on all that sugar. So we measure out about a teaspoon. Actually, since this was a packet that I was using for everything else, it's about all that's in there is a teaspoon, which is fine because it means that I don't have to open up a new pack. This is standard wine yeast, by the way. You can pretty much use anything that you feel comfortable with using in terms of your wine yeast, but standard Premier Blanc is what I've been using. It's what I started out using. I got like 11 packets of it, which is about a year's supply. So I'm going to use this up and see what it can do for me before I start switching to something a little bit different. And again, with yeast, all you got to do is just sprinkle it on there. Don't have to stir it up or anything because it will do its activation without any additional help from you. Go ahead and put your cap back on. And basically, that is it. This recipe is a little bit different from most of my wine recipes that I've been working with. For the most part, this one is going to stay in primary fermentation for 14 days before you transfer it into your secondary fermentation vessel, whether it's going to be another sealed glass jar that's been sterilized, or if it's going to be a cardboard that's also been sterilized. Everything, of course, has already been sterilized using Star San, so I'm good to go there. But for the next 14 days, the recipe recommends that you stir it once daily, which is kind of odd. Normally, after day 3, you really don't want to stir it any wine because you're going to start introducing air into the mixture, and that leads into the prospects of it going bad on you. So what I'm going to do is just stick to my standard routine. I may stir it on day 1 and 2, but on day 3, that's it. After that, again, let it sit for 14 days, and once that's done, we'll transfer it into a secondary fermentation vessel, and within about 3 to 6 months, the wine will be done. So we'll 3 to 6 months, we'll give it another shot and give it a taste. See you then.